Hendrick Motorsports just handed a 20-year-old the keys to one of the most iconic rides in NASCAR history. 48 hours later, that same driver was screaming into his radio, asking himself what he was even doing out there. This is the strangest week in NASCAR right now, and it's happening to one driver at the same time. Connor Zilisch got the news of a lifetime. Hendrick Motorsports announced he'll pilot the number 48 Chevrolet in the Cup Series starting in 2028. That's a legacy number. That's a franchise commitment. Then, the very next race, driving the number 88 for Trackhouse, Zilisch was collected in a chain reaction wreck. Riley Herbst slammed the outside wall right in front of him. Zilisch couldn't see it coming. His view was blocked, and when his spotter told him to get low, he locked up the brakes instead and drove straight into trouble. He clipped Herbst's stopped car, smashed the outside wall himself, and watched his oil pressure drop to zero. Race over. 22nd lap total 222. Final finish 35th. That's DNF number 9 in 25 races. Let's be clear about what this rookie season actually looks like on paper, because the numbers are brutal. 9 finishes where the car simply didn't make it to the checkered flag. 7 of those in just the last 13 races. And here's the stat that should really stop you in your tracks. Zilisch has completed fewer laps than any full-time Cup driver this season. Not close either. He's over 600 laps behind the next lowest name on that list. Compare that to the rookies who came before him. Shane Van Gisbergen wrecked out 4 times in his entire rookie year. Carson Hocevar 2, Ty Gibbs 5, Austin Cindric 4. Zilisch has already blown past every single one of them, and there are still 11 races left on the calendar. This isn't a talent problem. Everyone in the garage knows this kid can drive. That's exactly why Hendrick just committed to him for 2028. But right now, something isn't clicking, whether it's late race decision making, equipment that isn't giving him a fair shot, or the sheer weight of learning the Cup level in real time on national television every single weekend. Here's where the story gets genuinely fascinating from a strategic standpoint. Hendrick didn't announce this ride because Zilisch is having a clean, mistake-free rookie year. They announced it in spite of the fact that he isn't. That tells you everything about how NASCAR's top brass evaluates young talent. They're not grading raw stats right now. They're grading ceiling. They're betting on what this driver becomes once the mistakes stop piling up. With that bet comes with real risk. Confidence is a fragile thing in racing, and there's a version of this season where the crashes start living rent-free in a driver's head. You saw it in his own words after the wreck. That raw, immediate self-criticism, that's got arrogance talking. That's a driver who knows exactly what he did wrong the second he did it. In one sense, that awareness is a good sign. He's not making excuses. In another sense, it's a warning label. Drivers who internalize failure that hard can either use it as fuel or let it snowball into hesitation. And hesitation at 190 miles an hour is its own kind of danger. The math is also working against him in a very literal way. Cars that don't finish races don't score meaningful points. They don't build the muscle memory that comes from running the full distance, adjusting to tire wear, managing fuel strategy in the final stage. Zilisch isn't just losing finishes, he's losing reps. And reps are the one thing you cannot get back once the season is over. The real question for Trackhouse, and by extension for Hendrick watching from the sidelines, is whether this is a pattern that needs to be broken now, or a phase that naturally corrects itself as the rookie learns the sport's hardest lessons the hard way. History says most young drivers do turn it around, but 9 DNFs with a third of the season still to go is not a small hole to climb out of. The reaction online is split right down the middle, and that split says a lot. One side of the fan base is pointing straight at the results sheet, arguing that a driver already locked into a marquee ride for 2028 should be showing more control right now, not less. The other side is doing the math differently. They're pointing out that this same driver just earned a career-defining opportunity in the middle of his roughest stretch, which, if anything, proves the talent evaluation was never really about this year's stat line in the first place. Expect NASCAR media to run with this story hard over the next few weeks. It's a built-in narrative, the kid with the golden future, fighting through the toughest classroom in motorsports. So where does this go from here? 2 roads. Best case, Zilisch treats these final 11 races as a clean slate. He starts stacking clean finishes, rebuilds trust with his team, and heads into 2028 with real Cup-level scar tissue instead of just raw speed. That version of this story becomes the origin chapter of a genuine Hendrick star. Worst case, the pattern doesn't break. The DNFs keep piling up, the confidence cracks start to show on track. and Hendrick spends the next 18 months quietly wondering whether they moved too fast on a driver who needed one more developmental year before Cup racing full-time. Both outcomes are still very much in play, and that's exactly why the next 11 weeks matter more than almost anything else happening in the sport right now. So here's the real question. Did Hendrick Motorsports just make a brilliant long-term bet on a generational talent, or did they lock themselves into a driver who's currently having the worst rookie season in recent Cup history? Drop your take in the comments. Are you buying the hype, or are you worried this gets worse before it gets better? If you want the real story behind every headline in NASCAR, hit subscribe, because we're just getting started.